John, this is your first day here at Harrah's Chester. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your feeling about the facility and the track?
I'm very impressed with the whole facility. It's set up very convenient for the horsemen. Everything is very compact. They've certainly made valuable use of all the space that they have, and it's getting rave reviews from all the horsemen that I've talked to, and I can certainly see why.
Why do you love being around horses all the time?
I grew up with horses, and I fell in love with them when I was likely 2 years old. They couldn't keep me out of the barn. I just wanted to be around the horses all the time, and it's a love affair that's continued throughout my life. And I always say I'm very fortunate in that all I dreamt about when I was a kid was driving horses, and I got to do that for a living, so I feel very fortunate in that regard.
Would you say this is a real down-to-earth family sport, John?
A lot of people grew up in the sport, and it's very family-oriented. Horses are very addicting, so people that are around them, even if they leave to do something else for a while, invariably end up coming back and spending time with the horses.
Do you find in general that trotters or pacers are more easy to drive and handle?
The trotters are a little more difficult to drive, just because you have to be a little more careful with them with their gait. They're more prone to go off stride. You know, as far as strategy, it's basically the same. Once they learn how to trot or pace and can do their work and are confident in their gait, your strategy is the same with both of them. But you just have to be a little bit more cautious with the trotters to keep them on stride.
What's your greatest thrill ever in the sport?
Well, I've been fortunate.
If you have one that you can focus on.
I really don't have one thrill. I think there's 3 Hambletonians that really kind of tie for me. The first one was with Campbell. It was my first Hambletonian, and he was such a great horse, and I just loved driving him so much. Winning the Hambletonian with Tagliabue for my brother who trained him, and you know, my parents being there to see that. And then last year with Glidemaster was exceptionally moving for me. It's been a while since I'd won the Hambletonian, and the last couple of years hadn't gone that well, so I was very fortunate to win the Hambletonian with Glidemaster, but it was a very big thrill for me.
So, harness racing in the future. A lot of remote wagering, a lot of remote watching, looking to stimulate interest among a younger audience, and perhaps through the use of the internet and computers and different forms of wagering that'll happen. Do you have good feelings about that looking ahead, John?
I have mixed feelings about looking ahead. I think there's going to be fewer racetracks in the future, and unfortunately we're going to lose some tracks, but I think that the tracks that do survive are going to be more popular and do more business than ever. I think the tracks that in the future that are fortunate enough to survive and simulcast and have a healthy program as far as getting their signal around the country, I think those tracks are going to survive and thrive. Well, certainly right now the racinos are our hope for the future, and we're hoping that more states allow casino gambling at the racetracks, and the racetracks can put that into purses, and it certainly boosts our industry. And there's so many satellite industries off of harness racing that we support. So we're hoping that that happens in the future, and they're very well received here in Chester. Certainly in the Meadows, it's started out on a strong note there. In Ontario, I think is a province that has done very well with the slots at the tracks, and the horses are racing for purses that were just unheard of a few years ago there. So I think that's certainly a wave of the future, but we've got to promote our sport and stand on our own 2 feet, so to speak, and I think the tracks that do that in the future are going to be very successful.